Today is June 3rd, 2026, and this is Read Through the Bible.
Hi, everyone.
And Lord willing, you are in Durango, Colorado right now.
That's right. I'm there helping SR and Jenna with their move and spending time with their kids, June and Shepherd.
Yep. And we're recording this ahead of time. That's why we say, Lord willing, you will be there.
Right.
But today we're going to be looking at Isaiah 17, 18, and 19. And by way of summary, these are simple chapters to summarize because chapter 17 begins with a summary, an oracle concerning Damascus. Chapter 18 is similar, an oracle concerning Cush. And chapter 19 is an oracle concerning Egypt.
That's right. And so just for a little bit of geography, Damascus was the capital of Syria. That was to the north of Israel. And then Cush was in Africa, and so was Egypt.
Yep. These are enemies of Israel, and now the judgment is coming against them. So again, as you listen, just don't worry about the details of this, but catch this, the biggest flavor. We've been reading from chapter 13 on about all these judgments against 13 and 14 was against Babylon, and we read about Assyria, and we read about Philistia, and we read about Moab. And now today is Damascus and Cush and Egypt, and this judgment upon all the nations just kind of keeps coming and coming and coming. It will end in chapter 23, and then chapter 24 is going to be another hope-filled chapter after all this judgment.
Right.
Okay, chapter 17 begins with a summary statement, an oracle concerning Damascus.
Behold, Damascus will cease to be a city and will become a heap of ruins. The cities of Aroer are deserted. They will be for flocks which will lie down, and none will make them afraid. The fortress will disappear from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus. And the remnant of Syria will be like the glory of the children of Israel, declares the Lord of hosts.
And in that day the glory of Jacob will be brought low, and the fat of his flesh will grow lean. And it shall be as when the reaper gathers standing grain, and his arm harvests the ears. And as when one gleans the ears of grain in the valley of Rephaim, gleanings will be left in it. As when an olive tree is beaten, 2 or 3 berries in the top of the highest bough, 4 or 5 on the branches of a fruit tree, declares the Lord God of Israel.
In that day man will look to his Maker, and his eyes will look on the Holy One of Israel. He will not look to the altars, the work of his hands, and he will not look on what his own fingers have made, either the Asherim or the altars of incense.
In that day their strong cities will be like the deserted places of the wooded heights and the hilltops, which they deserted because of the children of Israel, and there will be desolation.
For you have forgotten the God of your salvation, and have not remembered the rock of your refuge. Therefore, you plant pleasant plants and sow the vine branch of a stranger. Though you make them grow on the day that you plant them, and make them blossom in the morning that you sow, yet the harvest will flee away in a day of grief and incurable pain.
Ah, the thunder of many peoples, they thunder like the thundering of the sea. Ah, the roar of nations, they roar like the roaring of mighty waters. The nations roar like the roaring of many waters, but he will rebuke them, and they will flee far away. Chased like chaff on the mountains before the wind, and whirling dust before the storm. At evening time, behold terror. Before morning, they are no more. This is the portion of those who loot us, and the lot of those who plunder us. There was Damascus, and now we come upon Cush. Chapter 18.
Ah, the land of whirring wings that is beyond the rivers of Cush, which sends ambassadors by the sea, in vessels of papyrus on the waters. Go, you swift messengers, to a nation tall and smooth, to a people feared near and far, a nation mighty and conquering, whose land the rivers divide.
All you inhabitants of the world, you who dwell on the earth, when a signal is raised on the mountains, look. When a trumpet is blown, hear. For thus the Lord said to me, I will quietly look from my dwelling like clear heat in sunshine, like a cloud of dew in the heat of harvest. For before the harvest, when the blossom is over and the flower becomes a ripening grape, he cuts off the shoots with pruning hooks, and the spreading branches he lops off and clears away. They shall all of them be left to the birds of prey of the mountains and to the beasts of the earth, and the birds of the prey will summer on them, and all the beasts of the earth will winter on them.
Verse 7, At that time tribute will be brought to the Lord of hosts from a people tall and smooth, from a people feared near and far, a nation mighty and conquering, whose land the rivers divide, to Mount Zion, the place of the name of the Lord of hosts.
Okay, there's the oracle against Cush. And now in chapter 19, we have an oracle concerning Egypt. And with Egypt, there's a little bit of surprise here, though. And so I think you need to read the surprise. I'm not going to tell you about it, but when we come to it, I just want you to listen to it. And you'll be like, whoa, wait, what is that? Okay, here we go. An oracle concerning Egypt.
Behold, the Lord is riding on a swift cloud and comes to Egypt, and the idols of Egypt will tremble at his presence, and the heart of the Egyptians will melt within them. I will stir up Egyptians against Egyptians, and they will fight, each against another, and each against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of the Egyptians within them will be emptied out, and I will confound their counsel. And they will inquire of the idols and the sorcerers, and the mediums and the necromancers. And I will give over the Egyptians into the hand of a hard master, and a fierce king will rule over them, declares the Lord of hosts.
Okay, now this is talking about the great Nile. And the waters of the sea will be dried up, and the river will be dry and parched. And its canals will become foul, and the branches of Egypt's Nile will diminish and dry up. Reeds and rushes will rot away. There will be bare places by the Nile, on the brink of the Nile. And all that is sown by the Nile will be parched, will be driven away, and will be no more. This is hitting at the heart of the economy of Egypt. The Nile is where everything is flourished and lush and green. Everything outside of that is just desert barrenness. The fishermen will mourn and lament, all who cast a hook in the Nile. They will languish who spread nets on the water. The workers in combed flax will be in despair, and the weavers of white cotton. Those who are the pillars of the land will be crushed, and all who work for pay will be grieved.
Interesting that cotton is mentioned there.
Well, yep.
The princes of Zoan are utterly foolish.
Okay, so Zoan is a city on the Nile Delta.
The wisest counselors of Pharaoh give stupid counsel. How can you say to Pharaoh, I am a son of the wise, a son of ancient kings? Where then are your wise men? Let them tell you that they might know what the Lord of hosts has purposed against Egypt. The princes of Zoan have become fools, and the princes of Memphis are deluded. Those who are the cornerstones of her tribes have made Egypt stagger. The Lord has mingled within her a spirit of confusion, and they will make Egypt stagger in all its deeds, as a drunken man staggers in his vomit. And there will be nothing for Egypt that head or tail, palm branch or reed may do.
In that day the Egyptians will be like women, and tremble with fear before the hand of the Lord of hosts shakes them. And the land of Judah will become a terror to the Egyptians. Everyone to whom it is mentioned will fear because of the purpose of the Lord of hosts has purposed against them.
In that day there will be 5 cities in the land of Egypt that speak the language of Canaan and swear allegiance to the Lord of hosts. One of these will be called the City of Destruction.
There's part of what it's going to be. 5 cities are going to speak the language of Canaan, like they're going to become Jewish people.
And swear allegiance to the Lord of hosts.
Yeah, okay, and it's going to continue on. And this is the surprise, because we haven't seen this, of Babylon or Assyria, or of Philistia, or of Moab, or Egypt. So here we're getting it with Egypt. In that day there will be an altar to the Lord in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar to the Lord at its border. So an altar to the Lord in Egypt. So this is like they're worshiping Yahweh, the true God here. So this is revival in Egypt, which is unique here. It will be a sign and a witness to the Lord of hosts in the land of Egypt when they cry to the Lord because of oppressors. He will send them a savior and defender and deliver them. Like, and this is almost like what God did at the time of the judges. He's going to raise up this deliverer for Egypt. And the Lord will make himself known to the Egyptians, and the Egyptians will know the Lord in that day and worship with sacrifice and offering, and they'll make vows to the Lord and perform them, and the Lord will strike Egypt, striking and healing, and they'll return to the Lord and will listen to their pleas for mercy and heal them.
Wow. In that day there will be a highway from Egypt to Assyria, and Assyria will come into Egypt, and Egypt into Assyria, and the Egyptians will worship with the Assyrians.
Okay, Yep.
Yeah, in order to go from Egypt to Assyria, you have to go through Judah and Israel.
Right through the land. And so there's going to be this highway. So there's going to be this friendship, this working out of things is really helpful. In that verse 24, in that day, Israel will be third with Egypt and Assyria, a blessing in the midst of the earth, whom the Lord of hosts has blessed, saying, Blessed be Egypt, my people, and Assyria, the work of my hands, and Israel, my inheritance. So what a glorious time this is going to be when Egypt has revival and comes to worship the Lord.
But it's surprising because this hasn't happened.
No. Egyptians
Yet.
are far contrary to Israel and to the Lord, that's for sure. But this is the surprise. This is the thing that stands out. So if anything, as you read through this, you just need to have in your minds, okay, judgment, right? Judgment against Babylon, and judgment against Assyria and Philistia and Moab and Damascus and Cush. But Egypt, there's going to be revival. Like that should be the shocking thing that comes out. There's hope in the midst of judgment. Okay, we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.